acknowledging the role of the AU's peace support operations in maintaining peace, he highlighted the heavy financial burden imposed on African nations, stressing that reliance on peacekeeping missions alone is costly and unsustainable. He observed the limited support from the United Nations and traditional partners focusing on other global conflicts, noting that African countries are struggling to finance these operations. The Vice President emphasized that future peace operations, especially those mandated by the UN, should integrate diplomatic and political strategies that target the root causes of the conflict. He warned against external interference, including the presence of foreign military forces and mercenaries in African countries, which contradicts the spirit of African common defense and security policies. Shettima urged the Council to adopt a communique promoting the immediate and unconditional withdrawal of foreign forces from member states. President Bola Tinubu has declared that the economy is not only on the rebound, but has begun to bear fruits. He made the clarification at Mapo Hall, Ibadan, venue of the installation of former Oyo State Governor Oba Rashidi Ladoja as the 44th Olubadan of Ibadan land, while addressing the massive crowd that turned out for the ceremony and to also welcome him to Ibadan. President Tinubu said the economy had turned the corner from the difficult reforms introduced by his administration over the past 28 months, saying a future of prosperity is now firmly in sight. The president acknowledged the sacrifices and hardships endured by citizens, likening them to a painful surgery that will ultimately lead to national recovery and sustainable growth. He had earlier congratulated the newly installed Olubadan, describing Oba Ladoja as a man of impeccable resilience, unwavering determination, and steadfast reliability. The president, who recalled their shared history as senators and governors, lauded Ladoja's political journey and perseverance as he expressed gratitude to the people, describing the warm reception in the city as one of the most memorable moments of his life. Governor Adeleke of Osun State has implored Nigerians to remain patriotic and always preach peace with a view to developing Nigeria. Governor Adeleke gave the advice at a special Jumat prayer heralding the celebration of the country's 65th independence anniversary. Sahid Adeboje has the details.
Osogbo Central Mosque, Ojaoba Osogbo, was the venue of the special Jumat service heralding the 64th independent anniversary of Nigeria. The Grand Imam of Osun State, Sheikh Musa Animashaun, led the congregation in the 2 Rakat Jumat prayer.
Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar!
Speaking shortly after the prayer, Governor Ademola Adeleke explained that Nigeria has every cause to thank God, considering the present state of the nation. Governor Adeleke, who was represented by the accounting officer of the Ministry of Regional Integration and Special Duties, Mr. Salman Muniruddin, recalled the many years that the country suffered under military rules, called on Nigerians to protect the democracy which is now in operation in the interest of national growth. He also emphasized the need for them to be patriotic and always work toward unity.
His Excellency, the Governor of the State, Senator Dr. Ademola Jackson Nuruddin Adeleke, has continued to preach the message that we should invite peace, because no meaningful development can take place in an atmosphere of chaos and struggle and fight. So he has told us that we should pass the message to people of the state that for the development to continue, we should continue to live in peace and harmony, so that this dividend of democracy can continue to thrive in the state.
Earlier in his sermon, the Grand Imam of Osun State, Sheikh Musa Animashaun, described the love for one's nation as part of religion. Sheikh Animashaun urged Nigerians to always profess positive words on the country and be optimistic that the country will be great again. Prayers were offered for President Bola Tinubu, Governor Ademola Adeleke, federal and state lawmakers, the judiciary, and the entire residents of Nigeria. For OSBC News, this is Saeed Adeboje reporting.
The Dangote refinery and petrochemicals has laid off about 800 workers in its employment, following what it described as multiple cases of reported sabotage across refinery units that posed major safety risks. A memo by the Chief General Manager of Human Asset Management at Dangote Group, Femi Adekunle, confirmed the disengagement of the workers, although the refinery's management explained that the exercise is part of a major reorganization to safeguard the refinery from repeated acts of sabotage that have raised safety concerns and affected operational efficiency. But the organized labor, through the leadership of the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, expressed outrage over the development, calling it anti-labor practices. In a statement signed by its General Secretary, Comrade Lumumba Kubua, the union regretted the development, urging the management of the Dangote refinery to recall all terminated Nigerian workers. Following the outrage from labor unions, the Dangote Petroleum Refinery, in response, explained that it is not an arbitrary exercise, but one necessary to safeguard the $20 billion facility. It said over 3,000 Nigerians continue to work actively at the refinery at present, and only a very small number of staff were affected. In related developments, Nigerian workers under the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association have directed their members nationwide to immediately shut down the supply of gas and crude to Dangote refinery. This was disclosed in a letter by the General Secretary of Pengasan, Lumumba Okubawa, to various branch chairmen of the union. The union cited the refinery's termination of appointment of over 800 workers as justification for the directive. Accordingly, the union stressed that members should immediately cut off gas to Nigerian Gas Infrastructure Company Limited, shut all crude oil supply valves to Dangote refinery, and halt the loading operation for any vessel headed there. The action is a direct response to the 650,000 barrel per day refinery sacking of 800 workers after they voluntarily joined Pengasan. This comes hours after Dangote confirmed that it sacked workers for an alleged sabotage, which the union, however, viewed as against the unionization of the workers. Pengasan President Festus Osifo, in an interview with newsmen, vowed that all sacked workers should be recalled by the refinery. Meanwhile, Nigerians may witness a sharp rise in fuel price as the Dangote Petroleum Refinery is set to put a hold on petrol sales in Naira. The development was communicated to customers in a notice made available to journalists today. According to the notice signed by the Group Commercial Operations of Dangote Petroleum Refinery and Petrochemicals, the decision will take effect from tomorrow, citing the exhaustion of its crude for Naira allocation as the reason. It maintained that the refinery has been selling petroleum products in excess of its Naira crude allocations and is unable to sustain PMS sales in Naira any longer. The notice informed all customers with PMS transactions in Naira who would like a refund of their current payments to formally request the processing of their refund. In the meantime, the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria has announced that its members will effect a petrol price hike nationwide as Dangote Refinery suspended sales of petrol in Naira. The national president of IPMA, Abubakar Migandi, disclosed this to newsmen in an interview today. He confirmed that the 650,000 barrel per day refinery sent an email to its customers, including marketers, informing them of the suspension of petrol sales in Naira with effect from tomorrow. According to him, the implication is that fuel pump prices will go up from their current 865 Naira and 910 Naira per litre in Lagos and Abuja. He said the new price template will be effective from Monday if the federal government does not address the Naira for crude oil allocation with Dangote Refinery. Earlier reports indicate that Nigerians may witness a fuel price hike in the coming days as Dangote Refinery suspended petrol sales in Naira. The company had cited extortion of its crude for Naira allocation, coming at a time when the refinery is embroiled in a fresh fight with the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria over the unjust sacking of 800 workers. The Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria has said that payments at its major revenue points in Lagos and Abuja airports will be strictly cashless as from Monday. The agency announced the policy, known as Operation Go Cashless, at its 2025 Commercial and Business Development Stakeholders Forum in Lagos. According to FAN, the initiative will begin at Murtala Mohammed International Airport and Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport before being extended to other airports nationwide. The policy, developed in partnership with the payment company Paystar, will apply to car parks, access gates, and lounges, as travelers will be required to make payments using bank cards, USSD codes, or digital links. FAN's Director of Commercial and Business Development, Adebola Agunbiade, said the shift will cover all revenue streams, including access gates and tenant payments. She reminded tenants and concessionaires of the mandatory use of FAN's electronic cash register, warning that enforcement will be stricter as the system are essential for transparency. The agency assured stakeholders that the rollout will not be limited to Lagos and Abuja, as the initiative will be expanded in phases to other airports. The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria has announced 8.1 million naira, 8.2 million naira, and 8.5 million naira as Hajj fee for next year. The chairman of the commission, Professor Abdullahi Saleh Usman, made this announcement after signing several agreements with service providers in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. According to a statement by the media department, the decision on the Hajj fare was reached after due consultations with all the relevant stakeholders, including the Forum of State Leadership, and obtaining the approval of the federal government. The 2026 Hajj fare, as announced, is as follows. Maiduguri Yola Zone comprises of Yobe, Borno, Adamawa, and Taraba will pay 8.1 million naira. Other northern states will pay about 8.3 million naira, while the southern states will pay about 8.6 million naira compared to what was charged last year. The NACON delegation, currently in Saudi Arabia, met and signed agreement with the 2026 Hajj Service Provider Company and the Transportation Company. Professor Usman urged all intended pilgrims to complete their payment before the end of the year. A federal high court in Abuja has rejected the no-case submission made by the detained, self-acclaimed leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, in his ongoing alleged terrorism trial. Justice James Omotosho, in a ruling, held that the prosecution has established a prima facie case against Kanu to warrant that he be ordered to enter his defense. The judge, who overruled Kanu's no-case submission, found that the evidence led by the prosecution and the exhibit it tendered have raised serious allegations of Kanu's involvement in terrorism activities to warrant that he be given the opportunity to defend himself. Justice Omotosho held that it is in the best interest of Kanu to be given the opportunity to clear some issues raised against him in the terrorism charges. Although the judge held that he had not evaluated the credibility of the witnesses who testified against Kanu and the avalanche of exhibits tendered during the trial to determine their probate value, he said he was inclined to order the defendant to clear some grave issues. Kanu had, through his lead lawyer, Chief Kanu Agadi, SAN, made a no-case submission shortly after the federal government concluded presentation of its case against him, after calling 5 witnesses and rendering some exhibits. You are welcome to our sports segment. The Flying Eagles have arrived in the Chilean city of Talca ahead of their participation in the 2025 FIFA Under-20 World Cup. Abdul-Jalil Adebisi has more from the world of sports. His report.
The team landed this week and were received by officials from FIFA, the local organizing committee, and hotel staff. Nigeria is drawn in Group F alongside Norway, Saudi Arabia, and Colombia, with all their group matches to be played in Talca. Shortly after setting in, the team held its first training session in the evening to step up preparations for the tournament. Head coach Ali Subair said the Flying Eagles had worked on correcting errors from their African Under-20 Cup of Nations campaign earlier this year. He expressed confidence that the squad is better set for the challenge of the World Cup. Before arriving in the city, the team had completed a 12-day training camp in Santiago. During the camp, they played 2 friendly matches, drawing 1-1 with hosts Chile and beating Australia 3-1 on Tuesday. Nigeria begins its World Cup campaign against Norway on Monday at Estadio Fiscal de Jalisco. The team will then face Saudi Arabia and Colombia in their remaining group fixtures. Nigeria's Under-20 side has a strong history in the competition, having first appeared in 1983. The Flying Eagles have twice finished as runner-ups in 1989 to Portugal and in 2005 to Argentina, led by Lionel Messi. They have also reached the semi-final several times and produced players who went on to become Super Eagles stars, including Michael Obi, Taye Taiwo, Kelechi Iheanacho, and Victor Osimhen. Meanwhile, 7 years after the passing of their founder, Wale Abodeni, Dolphins women delivered a powerful reminder to the Nigerian basketball community of what grassroots vision and unwavering commitment can achieve, clinching their second league title last Saturday after a decade-long wait, maintaining their unbeaten streak in the final 8 of the 2025 Nigeria Women's Basketball League. They fought tooth and nail through the regulation with quarter scores of 15, 13, 18, 17, 14, 8, and 6-15. Forcing a 53-53 deadlock against former champions, taking an extra 5 minutes of gritty overtime play for Dolphins to seal a dramatic 65-55 victory. Recall that the death of Dolphins Women's Basketball Club founder Wale Abodeni in 2018 cast a heavy cloud of uncertainty over the team's future, particularly for the players who had come to see him as both leader and mentor. Club director and former Nigeria captain Olumide Oyedeji recalled that they shared before his passing and how he started working with the team 4 years ago. Abdul Jalil, ADBC, OSBC News.
And from the foreign scene, the people of Seychelles voted today in an election to choose a new leader and parliament, with President Wave Ramkalawan seeking a second term in Africa's smallest country. These and many stories from the foreign scene are presented from our studios. People of Seychelles voted today. Chief political rival Patrick Emini of the United Seychelles Party is a veteran lawmaker and parliamentary speaker from 2007 to 2016, contesting against President Wave Ramkalawan's second-term bid. Polls opened at 7 a.m. in a sign of what was expected to be a strong voter turnout in the tourist haven, where the president is elected for a 5-year term. Long lines formed at many polling stations across the country as electoral authorities said all stations opened on time and voting was proceeding smoothly. Ramkalawan, an Anglican priest who later became involved in politics, became the first opposition leader since 1976 to defeat the ruling party when he made his 6th bid for the presidency in 2020. The ruling Leon Democratic Seselwa Party campaigned on economic recovery, social development, and environmental sustainability. If no contender receives more than 50% of the vote in over 77,000 people registered to vote in Seychelles, the two top candidates go into a runoff. The 115 island archipelago in the Indian Ocean has become synonymous with luxury and environmental travel, which has pumped Seychelles to the top of the list of Africa's richest countries by gross domestic product per capita, according to the World Bank. In the meantime, after 10 days of campaigning, the first round of Gabon's legislative and local elections got underway, with some 1,600 candidates vying for 145 parliamentary seats, with around 17,000 people competing for municipal and departmental positions. Today's election is seen as a crucial step in solidifying the transition from the Bongo family's more than 50-year rule that came to an end following a coup in 2023. Coup leader Brice Oligui Nguema won an overwhelming victory in April's presidential election, the first election since the coup. More than 20 political parties are participating in the poll, including President Brice Oligui Nguema's Democratic Union of Builders, and the Gabonese Democratic Party founded by former President Omar Bongo. The Interior Ministry said every effort has been made to ensure the vote is free, fair and transparent, and that international observers are overseeing the process. And that ends the major report on OSBC TV tonight. It was edited by Abdul Jalil Adebisi. I am Kayode Adebayo. Thanks for watching and good night.